listening to the Holy Bible 1-Year Challenge with Master Storyteller Michael Wood, featuring the easy-to-read version and used by permission from Bible League International. Enjoy the show!
Hello everyone, welcome to day 175. We are continuing in the book of 1 Kings, and Jeroboam was the man that God decided to raise up to battle and defeat Solomon. But Jeroboam didn't listen very well to his advisors, and he started to place foreign gods into the places of worship. In a way, he was repurposing and overwriting God's holy temples. But he's not going to get away from this very long. And here we also see a good example of God speaking personally to the prophets. And we're also continuing in the book of Acts. Paul and Silas are going on their next missionary journey, and along with them is Luke, which isn't mentioned exactly in the scriptures, but when you hear the narrator saying, we, Luke is including himself in the narrative. Remember, the book of Acts is really the second part of the book of Luke. We call it Luke Acts. And along the way, the apostles meet Lydia from the city of Thyatira. She sells purple cloth. We see Lydia and her whole household being baptized. And there we see a perfect example of Christian conversions, where you might have somebody who already believes in God, but they still need to be baptized. If you enjoy the show, visit me at patreon.com/storymaster. You'll find the link in the description box below. By contributing as little as $1 per month, you will enable me to continue this ministry, and you'll get cool rewards too. Together, we're going to get through the Bible in 1 year. Let's get started. 1 Kings chapter 12, 25 to 33. Jeroboam rebuilt the city of Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim and lived there. Later he went to the city of Penuel and rebuilt it. Jeroboam said to himself,
"If the people keep going to Jerusalem to offer sacrifices at the Lord's temple, someday they will want to be ruled by their old masters. They will want to be ruled by King Rehoboam of Judah, and then they will kill me."
So the king asked his advisors what to do. They gave him their advice, and King Jeroboam made 2 gold calves. He said to the people,
"You don't have to go to Jerusalem to worship anymore. Israel, here are the gods that brought you out of Egypt."
King Jeroboam put 1 gold calf in Bethel and the other one far north in the city of Dan. What a terrible sin this was, because the Israelites started going to the cities of Dan and Bethel to worship the calves. Jeroboam also built temples at the places of worship and chose priests from among the different tribes of Israel. He did not choose priests only from the tribe of Levi. Then King Jeroboam started a new festival that was like the festival in Judah, but it was on the 15th day of the 8th month. At this time, the king offered sacrifices on the altar at Bethel. He and the priests he chose offered the sacrifices to the calves that he had set up at the places of worship he had made. So King Jeroboam chose his own time for a festival for the Israelites, the 15th day of the 8th month. And during that time, he offered sacrifices and burned incense on the altar he had built at Bethel. The Lord commanded a man of God from Judah to go to the city of Bethel. King Jeroboam was standing at the altar offering incense when a prophet of God arrived. The Lord had commanded the prophet to speak against the altar. He said, "Altar, the Lord says to you,
David's family will have a son. His name will be Josiah. The priests of the places of worship are now burning incense on you, but Josiah will offer the priests on you and burn human bones on you, so you can never be used again."
The prophet gave proof to the people that this would happen. He said,
This is proof that the Lord told me about. He said,
This altar will break apart, and the ashes on it will fall onto the ground.
When King Jeroboam heard the message from the man of God about the altar in Bethel, he took his hand off the altar and pointed at the man. He said,
"Arrest that man!"
But when the king said this, his arm became paralyzed. He could not move it. Then the altar broke into pieces, and all its ashes fell onto the ground. This proved that what the man of God had said came from the Lord. Then King Jeroboam said to the man of God,
"Please pray to the Lord your God for me. Ask him to heal my arm."
So the man of God prayed to the Lord, and the king's arm was healed. It was as useful as ever. Then the king said to the man of God,
"Please, come home with me. Come and eat with me. I will give you a gift."
The man of God said to the king,
"I will not go home with you, even if you give me half of your kingdom. I will not eat or drink anything in this place. The Lord commanded me not to eat or drink anything here. He also commanded me not to go back the same way I came."
So he took a different road home. He did not go back the same way he had come to Bethel. There was an old prophet living in Bethel. His sons came and told him what the man of God did that day in Bethel and what he said to King Jeroboam. The old prophet said,
"Which way did he go when he left?"
So the sons showed their father which road the man of God from Judah had taken. The old prophet told his sons to saddle his donkey. They put the saddle on the donkey, and he left. The old prophet went after the man of God. He found him sitting under an oak tree and asked him, "Are you the man of God who just came from Judah?" The man of God answered,
"Yes, I am."
So the old prophet said, "Please come home and eat with me." The man of God said,
"I cannot go home with you. I cannot eat or drink anything in this place. The Lord said to me,
You must not eat or drink anything in that place, and you must go back on a different road."
The old prophet lied to him and said, "But I am a prophet like you, and an angel from the Lord came to me and told me to bring you home and give you something to eat and drink." So the man of God went to the old prophet's house and ate and drank with him. While they were sitting at the table, the Lord spoke to the old prophet, and the old prophet spoke to the man of God from Judah. He said, "The Lord said that you did not obey him. You did not do what he commanded. He told you not to eat or drink anything in this place, but you came back here and ate and drank. So your body will not be buried in your family grave." The man of God finished eating and drinking. Then the old prophet saddled his own donkey for the man. On the way home, a lion attacked and killed the man of God. His body was lying on the road while the lion stood next to it. The donkey stood nearby. Some people came walking by and saw the body and the lion standing by it. They went into the city where the old prophet lived and told the people what they had seen on the road. The old prophet heard the story and said, "This is the man of God who did not obey the Lord's command. So the Lord sent a lion to attack him. The lion has killed him just as the Lord said it would happen." Then the old prophet told his sons to saddle his donkey, and they did. He went to find the body lying on the road. The donkey and the lion were still standing near it. The lion had not eaten the body or hurt the donkey. The old prophet put the body of the man of God on his donkey and carried it back to the city to cry for him and bury him. The old prophet buried the man in his own family grave. He cried for him and said, "Oh, my brother, I'm sorry for you." So the old prophet buried the body. Then he said to his sons, "When I die, bury me in the same grave where I buried the man of God. Put my bones next to his. The Lord used him to speak against the altar at Bethel and against the places of worship in the other towns in Samaria. And what he said will certainly happen." King Jeroboam did not change. He continued doing evil. He continued to choose people from different tribes to serve as priests at the places of worship. Whoever wanted to be a priest was allowed to be one. This is the sin that caused the ruin and destruction of his kingdom. 1 Kings chapter 14, verses 1 through 20. Jeroboam's son dies. At that time, Jeroboam's son, Abijah, became very sick. Jeroboam said to his wife,
Go to Shiloh and see the prophet Ahijah. He is the one who said that I would become king of Israel. Dress yourself so the people will not know that you are my wife. Give the prophet 10 loaves of bread, some cakes, and a jar of honey. Then ask him what will happen to our son, and he will tell you."
So the king's wife did what he said. She went to the home of Ahijah, the prophet in Shiloh. Ahijah was very old and had become blind. The Lord said to him,
Jeroboam's wife is coming to ask you about her son, because he is sick. I will tell you what to say to her.
When she came to Ahijah's house, she pretended to be someone else. But when Ahijah heard her coming to the door, he said, "Come in. I know who you are. You are Jeroboam's wife. Why are you pretending to be someone else? I have some bad news for you. Go back and tell Jeroboam that this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says."
Jeroboam, I chose you from among all the Israelites. I made you the ruler of my people. David's family was ruling the kingdom of Israel, but I took the kingdom away from them and gave it to you. But you are not like my servant David. He always obeyed my commands and made every effort to please me. He did only what I accepted. But you have sinned more than anyone who ruled before you. You stopped following me and made other gods for yourself. You made those statues to make me angry. So Jeroboam, I will bring troubles to your family. I will kill all the men in your family. I will destroy your family completely, just as fire burns up straw. Anyone from your family who dies in the city will be eaten by dogs, and anyone from your family who dies in the fields will be eaten by birds. The Lord has spoken.
Then Ahijah said, "And now, go home. Your son will die as soon as you enter the city. All Israel will cry for him. They will bury him. But he is the only one from Jeroboam's family who will be buried. This is because he is the only one in Jeroboam's family who pleased the Lord, the God of Israel. Soon the Lord will put a new king over Israel who will destroy Jeroboam's family. Then the Lord will punish Israel. The Israelites will be so full of fear that they will shake like tall grass in the water. He will pull Israel up from his good land. The Israelites will be so full of fear that they will shake like tall grass in the water. He will pull Israel up from this good land that he gave their ancestors. He will scatter them to the other side of the Euphrates River. The Lord will do this because the people made him angry when they built sacred poles. He will let the Israelites be defeated because Jeroboam sinned and caused the Israelites to sin too. Jeroboam's wife went back to Tirzah. As soon as she stepped into the house, the boy died. They buried him, and all the people of Israel cried for him. This happened just as the Lord had said it would through his servant, the prophet Ahijah. Everything else King Jeroboam did is recorded in the book, The History of the Kings of Israel. It includes the wars he fought and the way he ruled. Jeroboam ruled as king for 22 years. When he died, his son Nadab became the new king after him. Acts chapter 16, verses 1 through 15. Timothy goes with Paul and Silas. Paul went to the city of Derbe and then to Lystra, where a follower of Jesus named Timothy lived. Timothy's mother was a Jewish believer, but his father was a Greek. The believers in the cities of Lystra and Iconium had only good things to say about him. Paul wanted Timothy to travel with him, but all the Jews living in that area knew that his father was a Greek. So Paul circumcised Timothy to please the Jews. Then Paul and those with him traveled through other cities. They gave the believers the rules and decisions from the apostles and elders in Jerusalem. They told them to obey these rules. So the churches were becoming stronger in their faith, and the number of believers was growing every day. Paul and those with him went through the areas of Phrygia and Galatia, because the Holy Spirit did not allow them to tell the good news in Asia. When they reached the border of Mysia, they tried to go on into Bithynia. The Spirit of Jesus did not let them go there. So they passed by Mysia and went to the city of Troas. That night, Paul saw a vision. In it, a man from Macedonia came to Paul. The man stood there and begged, "Come across to Macedonia to help us." After Paul had seen the vision, we immediately prepared to leave for Macedonia. We understood that God had called us to tell the good news to those people. We left Troas in a ship and sailed to the island of Samothrace. The next day we sailed to the city of Neapolis. Then we went to Philippi, a Roman colony, and the leading city in that part of Macedonia. We stayed there for a few days. On the Sabbath day, we went outside the city gate to the river. There we thought we might find a special place for prayer. Some women had gathered there, so we sat down and talked with them. There was a woman there named Lydia from the city of Thyatira. Her job was selling purple cloth. She was a worshiper of the true God. Lydia was listening to Paul, and the Lord opened her mind to accept what Paul was saying. She and all the people living in her house were baptized. Then she invited us into her home. She said,
"If you think I am a true believer in the Lord Jesus, come and stay in my house."
She persuaded us to stay with her. Psalm chapter 78, verses 1 through 8. A maskil of Asaph. My people, listen to my teachings. Listen to what I say. I will tell you a story. I will tell you about things from the past that are hard to understand. We have heard the story and know it well. Our fathers told it to us, and we will not forget to tell it to our children. we will tell those who come after us. We will all praise the Lord and tell about his power and the amazing things he has done. He made an agreement with Jacob and gave the law to Israel, and he commanded our ancestors to teach it to their children. Then all the children born to them would know the law and teach it to their own children. This would make them all trust in God, helping them to never forget what he had done, and to always obey his command. It would not be like their ancestors, who were stubborn and refused to obey. Their hearts were not devoted to God, and they were not faithful to him. The men from Ephraim had their weapons, but they ran from the battle. Thank you, everyone. That was day 175. Join us for day 176. We're continuing in 1 Kings. Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, is now 41 years old, and finally he becomes the king of Judah. And after him, we'll hear about the next king, Abijah. Then after him, Asa. Then you'll hear about the other kings of Israel, Nadab, then Baasha. But King Baasha is in trouble when a prophet from the Lord warns him that he has done the same evil things that Jeroboam did. And then the book of Acts, Paul and Silas are in jail, but then they start to sing songs of praise to God. How will the other prisoners react to this? But you'll be surprised when you hear the reaction of the guards when they hear them singing Christian songs. We hope you enjoyed today's verses. Be sure to leave us a positive review and to share this podcast with your friends and family. Please join us for the next episode as we experience the Bible in 1 year.
Did you know we offer online courses in creative writing, literature, and web design? Visit us at storymaster.online to learn more.